She
Yeah.
said, I think Terry was just a touch jealous. Do you think?
I don't know. It's different. I mean,
Let's see, do I need to make this larger for us? There we go. Am I using the computer? That should do it, right?
Are you?
Mute. I'm not muted, I don't think. Although we can't hear any of them. There's Becca. Oh, I think I did hear breathing.
So put us on.
Yeah, let me check.
Hello?
Hi.
Ah,
We put ourselves on mute.
okay. Well, I'm at least talking to somebody.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
All right.
Yeah, I just.
Hmm.
But why
Well,
are we?
David, having a little scotch there. Why not?
What?
We're drinking too, right? We're just
Uh-huh,
drinking
yeah.
vodka.
Look like it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me too.
Not a minute drinking that too. That's water. Is he muted?
Yeah, because he's talking, he couldn't be. Let's see.
They'll be getting
Audio
jealous.
settings.
6 o'clock.
You hear my, you hear
Okay.
ringtone? No.
I can hear y'all, Carol.
Unmute your speaker.
Ooh, fly.
We gotta get our volume up. I don't know.
I can hear y'all, Robin.
Hey. Okay. Now
There
we
we
can
go.
hear you.
Okay.
Unless it was a different one. Zoom is so strange.
I know it is very strange.
Should be flat.
Who's that lady over there?
I have no idea.
Lindsay,
Yes.
huh?
Rachel's not there.
Hey guys, this is Tim Kennedy. Joined. I'm still driving, so I didn't turn on my video,
Okay, Tim.
but I'll make it to my house here in just a few minutes, so I'll be able to join you.
I was
Video
about to
short.
say, if you're like on 26 or something, just hang up.
No, I'm right here in downtown. I'm almost at Town Square, but just a few minutes away. So
Yeah.
I'll just listen in until then.
Well, I looked at this stuff last night on Dropbox, but I cannot find it now.
So I'll be sharing my screen so you'll be able to see it.
Okay.
I had the same problem, David. I lost it for days.
Well, someday we'll get back to normal, but don't count on it anytime soon.
We can pray.
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I know more than a lot of people do. So.
Yeah, Becca, you should be able to share your screen now. I did have it off, but you should be good now.
I'm actually having an issue with my work laptop getting the packet to open, so it might take me a minute here, y'all. I thought I was all prepared, and it's just I'm having an issue with Adobe.
Everybody make it to the polls to vote this morning?
I did it last week,
I did it
Me
week
too.
before last.
and that was a piece of cake. Looked like a long line, but it only took a half an hour.
Well,
were-
interestingly, this morning I went about 7 and it took me about an hour to vote. And my son left work about 4:30 and got there about 5. and he said he was the only person in the precinct voting.
Wow.
Only him and the poll workers. So I guess everybody voted early.
I like that early voting. They
Yeah,
had
it
it,
only took me about 20 minutes to in line for early.
they had it down very smoothly.
Sure, it will be the, just like a lot of things, it'll be the new trend to have early voting now. So,
Well, there are worse things.
oh yeah, much worse things. So a good thing actually.
The
So,
nice thing to
regardless.
come out of all this, I think, is we actually have people taking advantage of their franchise finally.
Maybe so.
All right, y'all.
It'll be interesting to see.
There we go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's just this laptop is running extremely slow, so it just took a minute.
I'm shocked.
All right. Well, do we have Phil on the line somewhere? I think, Phil, you have yourself muted. Lenny, can you unmute him?
Yeah, let me try. Who's that again, Becca?
Phil
Phil?
Dixon.
Let me try. Phil, you are muted. I'm trying to unmute you on Zoom, but it's saying that you got it muted on your side. Phil, do you see a microphone icon on your screen? There you go. You're good. All right, Phil's good.
Right. Phil, we can go ahead and get started whenever you're ready.
He is unmuted, but we can't hear him still. He does not have his mute on. I'm not sure why we can't hear him right now. Phil, we still can't hear you even though you're unmuted.
You want me to run it?
Yeah, David, just for the sake of time, so we can get everyone through here efficiently, we'll get started, and then hopefully Phil can figure out the volume issue.
Okay. Well, it's now 6:05, and I think we have a quorum. Do we, Becca?
Well, the only issue with that is if we can't hear Phil vote, I mean, I guess he could raise his hand. Sorry. Yeah, because we don't have.
I think Phil has gotten out and he's going to get back in. I believe he's reconnecting right now.
Okay. Am I supposed to be able to see anybody?
No, you should just see my screen with the agenda.
Okay.
Are you on your phone or your tablet?
I'm on my phone. I hate that tablet thing. I can't make it do anything.
Okay, well, yeah, if you're on your phone, you should be able to swipe the screen, I believe. If you want to see everybody, you can change the view.
Uh, Whatever. By the time the virus is finished in 2026, maybe I'll have this all figured out. How's that for a positive note?
You have Phil back on, Becca. I guess he could vote by raising his hand. If you want to let David run it, you can, I guess. Phil is on the meeting though.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
We'll try that.
all right. The first order of business is to approve the minutes of the October meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes from the October meeting.
A second?
That would have to be Tim, or I guess if Phil raises his
Oh,
hand.
I'll second.
Phil seconded.
Okay. All in favor? I was not there, so I cannot approve.
I,
And Phil is aye.
Okay,
All right.
good. That's adequate. So we go to the first order of business, which is 106 Congress Street, which is a revision of already approved plans. Would you all make your presentation?
Hi there, this is Carol Ross. I have my architect with me, Kirsten Abrahamson from Link 2 Studios, and she's going to take over.
Hi there. You've already seen this project before. The first sheets that you're looking at here, A3.1 and A3.2, are essentially a garage addition to the house that you've already approved. So it's an addition to the back. If you, this is the house that you've already approved, elevation, and then that is the side elevation, showing the garage doors on the side. You're now looking at the site plan showing the driveway, and that block in the back is the addition to the house that's already been approved. You're looking at the rear elevation on this sheet and A3.1. So it's a garage addition with a porch, a rear porch. It is the siding matching the rest of the house, and it's the garage is obviously lower level than the main house, but the porch is at the same floor elevation as the main house. And it has a shed gable above. There will be some inhabitable space above the garage. There's a side entry door next to the garage doors leading into the garage. And there's a sort of short, like eyebrow roof above the garage doors. Do you have any questions?
Are there any questions from the board?
Kirsten, I thought it looked really good.
Thank you, Tim.
I thought so also.
Thank you, David.
Any other comments?
I guess one question, Kirsten, around the base, what are you doing there? I see I'm on the back elevation there. Go ahead, if you don't mind, flip back to that rear elevation. Yeah, that one there. So on the, I see the little porch stoop there, and then to the left and right, there's something different going on with the base. What are you doing there below the windows?
Yeah, so I think we're gonna, it has a trim board and with sort of a brick base matching the piers of the porch
Hmm.
at present. But then, of course, when it turns to the side elevation,
Driveway.
where driveway comes up, it, it wraps around and just kind of matches the base of the house.
Hmm.
The main
Gotcha.
house.
Okay.
Yes, sort of like with the interruption of the garage doors, you just have a little bit of wall in
Sure,
between.
sure. Yeah.
Pick up the alignment of the main house.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a decent attempt to try to do something there to make that tie in pretty good. So,
Thank
but I
you.
didn't have the details there of what it was exactly. So anyway, I think it looks good. I recommend approval. I'd make a motion that we approve as submitted.
Can I have a second?
Aye.
You're seconding? Cecile, are you
Oh,
seconding?
yes, I will
Okay.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Phil raised his hand.
Phil, I sent you a message. You can call in on your phone. That phone number I sent you in the chat, and use that ID, and you can actually use the audio on your phone if you just want to dial in.
Raised his hand, David.
He did?
He did.
Okay. I think we have an approval to proceed as presented. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carol, I'll send you an updated COA probably tomorrow morning.
Sounds good. Thank you, Becca.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Have a
Thank
good night.
you. We'll say
Bye,
goodbye.
guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
The second project is a proposed addition on 610 South Laurel Street. Do we have a presenter for that?
We do.
All right.
Rogers. You ready?
All right. We're ready.
Okay, great. I have a team with me. The homeowner, Barbara Bird, Housechild.
Hi, how are y'all?
New owner, very
Hi
proud,
there.
Ricky Wary.
Congratulations.
He's saying congratulations to you.
Well, to you,
To you.
Barbara. Pardon.
Mhm.
Congratulations. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm excited, downsized and have the chance to live on Laurel Street.
Very good.
So we also have,
You're downhill from the prices.
Right.
And around the corner from the conference.
I know, I'm in an illustrious neighborhood.
Oh, yes.
No doubt about that, y'all. You know, an import, I've only lived here 60 years, so an import, I think I'm okay. And Ricky, we've conned him to do the construction.
and I'm friend and interior designer Robin Rogers, trying to help them with this. And my daughter Melissa, who without her, we would not see you because she is handling the Zoom for all of us. Seriously. So what we like to do is add some square footage. It's not shown on this elevation, but shown on this elevation is our additional porch, front porch for Barbara. That's the proposed roof drawing. And you can see that little 80 square foot section. We need a little more room in the living room and a proper foyer. We're moving the door down to the far right. It's currently centered in the middle. And we're taking one of the existing windows and placing it where the front door was. Let's see, we are going to run, we propose running hardy board or hardy plank rather all across the front. Let's see. We're proposing that the ceiling be beadboard, either vinyl or wood. The contractor mentioned today to me that he thought the wood would be good. Let's see, our trim, of course, would be wood. Our columns would be square. we're thinking 10-inch square columns. We're also proposing whatever size you all think. We were thinking between 8 and 10. And that's basically it.
And the columns would have a base
Yes, sir.
drawn and
Trim
Yeah.
around close to the top.
that capital detail.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
My question from the drawings presented was, I think it would look improved if there were shutters on both sides of all the windows rather than those two windows that only have a shutter on one side.
I agree with you, but it's very tight. One shutter would literally touch the shutter, but we can certainly consider that.
That's not a problem with old homes. The shutters often stand off a little bit and almost touch. So I would think it would look better with the 2 extra shutters.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Okay, we can do that. That's not a problem.
And I'm assuming up above the lattice work or the beam work above, that's all exposed up there, correct?
Yes.
And so the wood ceiling, I think you will see that because from the street, I think the wood would be nicer rather than the vinyl. Is there a reason why did y'all put the ridge, I guess, so high versus the existing roof? The existing roof has a fairly low ridge. And so this is kind of pretty prominent up front.
I came up with the idea because I thought it looked better, but David, who works for Ricky, said the exact same thing. He thought that it should be lowered to be the same height as the existing roof hedge.
Yes, I would kind of think it would. It's difficult maybe to see without seeing it, but I just feel like it's a little bit big considering the size of the rest of the house.
Well, Tim, the only negative I would see to lowering the ridge would be that would flatten the pitch of that, which I think right now is a nice looking pitch. And I'm not sure if it were dropped to a lower pitch, it would look as nice, but.
David, what that would do is
I do understand.
it would drop the pitch to the same as the roof.
Beg your pardon?
It would drop the pitch on that gable to the pitch that the rest of the house is on.
What would that change the pitch of that new addition to?
That's what I'm saying. It would drop it to the same as the house, which you can't get a very good look at now because the house is like a 412, so it would drop that pitch to a 412.
Yeah. And like the example you gave, go back to that other picture of the other house. Yes, that one looks like it has a ridge a slope that matches the other slope as well. So
That's right.
I kind of believe that the matching slope would be better.
Okay.
But that's just one opinion. So.
I agree with David. I think it makes a much more interesting facade with the difference in the elevation of the pitch.
The idea came from the other houses located the street going to Jim McCleary's dentist office. That's where that house is located. And I saw that picture of that open gable and I just thought it, looked better than closing one in.
Sure. I think the open gable looks great, by the way. I completely agree with that. Rachel, are you there? What do you think on this?
Yeah, I just joined. I'm sorry that I'm getting late. I think that The part that looks just a bit odd to me, and it could be better if it was, or first of all, the part that just looks a little odd to me is that what looks like the roof framing is sitting like not on top of the porch columns, but sort of like cut into it. So it's that like the actual architectural elements are not all clear and defined. And it, and then it does make it feel like the roof then goes up too high. So I'm thinking that it could be that the porch columns are a little bit too high, because then the edges of the roof should actually be matching the edges of the other roof and not be up above that.
Rachel, that's exactly what David, who works for Ricky, said today.
Yeah,
Said I guess a band, the bottom board
right,
with the pitch needs to be lower to the exact same height as the roof.
right.
So
And
I
I
totally
and
understand how that needs to be.
yeah, and I think if we started with that would help. Like it would feel like it ties in just a little bit better and
Mhm.
doesn't be like sort of not fully integrated. And what I don't know is the little cross member at the top, like just above the ridge. What is that? Is that a structural thing, or what are you doing there?
I totally copied the picture of the existing porch.
Yeah.
There was a board in the back, which I think might have had something to do with tying the roof together with the siding,
Uh,
part of the house. That might have just
right,
been planned for that purpose.
right. Because I think structurally, Robin, that might not be needed. Like if you had a structural engineer who did a ridge beam, that they
Right.
wouldn't necessarily need a collar beam,
Okay.
which is what that is.
Okay. It's where it looks
Uh,
like a cross. That's what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. And I feel like that also kind of muddies it up a little. I know it was on the other, like when you mentioned that,
Yep. Okay.
but I do think that that also just
Okay.
muddies it up
I,
a little bit.
I had not thought that that was a collar beam. I thought that that was a beam to hang that light fixture on, and it was set back from the front. But
Yeah.
And you may be right.
From the
It's,
house.
Yep.
I mean, how deep is the front porch?
8.
8 feet.
Yeah, it could be that the hanging light on an 8-foot porch is actually a little too high and you need to drop it a bit more.
Sure.
Um,
You mean utilizing the
like
horizontal?
you can just have a longer chain on it,
Got it.
but I think it could be pretty high, like it's like up like 13, 14 feet.
Got it.
It might be a little high.
Okay.
But I think that a big change would be if we dropped it so that where the roof ends, that is all continuous.
Got it.
And
You're not concerned by how much that changes the pitch of the roof on that addition?
I'm just thinking that all of that just comes down a little.
Okay.
And that I think that I think there just needs to be just a little more clarity about, how the beam goes across. And some of this is structural too, but it's also architectural, because I think the structural engineer would do that. Like I like the width of the beam that goes across, but I really feel like then the rafters have to sit on top of it, which really means all of it has to come down a little bit so that that edge of the roof still lines up.
Totally understand.
But that beam across the front should not be reduced to equal the freeze board around the
No,
rest of the house.
no, it needs to have some depth, which it needs regardless, because you've got a 17-foot span between. So
Right.
it will have to have some depth, which looks about right. But I think all of that just needs to come down a little bit. to just have things line up a little bit better and go from there. But I mean, as a concept, I really like it. I like the V open truss. I like that you're making a porch like this. I like the double columns. I'm not sure, Tim, about the slope or not. Like, I can see it being higher if that is what it ends up being.
Yeah, and maybe just your tweaks are enough. It just seems a little too high to
I
me.
think it's too
The
high,
difference
but I think
between the
it's that
two.
the columns are too high and then the beams too high and then the rafters aren't sitting on it and then the actual edge of the roof is high. Like, I think all of it is just a little too high.
Got it.
But not to come down to the same point as the existing roof.
I'm thinking, Cecile, like that where the edge of the roof, that height should be the same as the edge of the roof of the existing. Like, it could be all continuous instead of sitting up higher. I think it's the sitting up higher that contributes to this a little bit. And what's a bit, I mean, I know, Robin, you've sketched it and you've done a nice job, but you know, when a roof comes down, it actually has sort of a fascia board.
Right.
And so what I'm not 100% sure is, like, the 10-foot that you have, is that to the very edge of the roof, or is that to the, like, the fascia board depth, or what is that?
It looks to me, let's see, I'm showing 8 feet. I'm showing almost 10 feet up to the existing left side of the house.
Right.
When I add the 11, the 8, 6, it's actually, that should be equal.
Yeah.
Answering.
So the 7 inches at the top, is that sort of a trim that's on the top of the wall, or is that the fascia on the edge of the roof?
The fascia.
Okay. All right. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
It seems to me like if it all comes down and we slightly change the pitch, we'll
Yeah.
have.
I think that could be true. I mean, maybe I would try sketching it to match the existing roof, but I suspect that might be actually too low.
Okay.
So I'm not opposed to it being taller. I just think it just needs to get adjusted a little bit.
Got it.
Rachel, this is Ricky. It'll be real easy for us to lower that beam down, the beam that the porch sits on all the way around.
Yeah.
For us to put it right down level with the rest of it. David and I talked today, because today was the first day he looked at the plans. I
Yeah.
didn't catch that, but he did first off the bat, and he said,
Right.
you know, he asked me about that. So those rafter tails will sit down and be level with the rest of the roof of the house. So the fascia board, when it comes around, it'll be the same level all the way around.
Right. Okay. I think that would be really great.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. So that's,
Yes. Yeah.
that would bring it down by looking at Autumn's drawing. It'll bring it down a good bit. Just
Yeah.
without changing.
And the only other thing that I'm just wondering is, just because of the size of the porch, is I know that, like, Robin, you've drawn what might be the depth of the roof framing,
Right.
like on these horizontal pieces or the angled pieces. And it could be that what we might want to do is, on the front of it, just make it a little bit deeper so that you have like another just trim line in there, just so it feels like it just has a little bit more, like, you know, in the other photo you had, like, it had some thickness in the edges of it as it came around the corner, like it felt meaty enough.
Okay. Got it.
And so I think that angled piece, it may be that we would want to have, maybe it's like essentially a 2x12, and then it has another piece of trim in front of it, just to give it that little bit extra, because it is a big porch.
Yes.
And I think it might just need just a tiny bit more depth to give it some like muscle.
Okay, so depth, you mean? what
Like
do you
I'm saying, like the pieces that are the angled framing.
mean? Okay,
It looks like you've drawn it as if it might be like a 2x8.
yes, and you're
And
looking,
I'm thinking that I think it needs to just be a little bit like deeper,
okay,
and then have essentially a piece of trim in front of it. So we've got also a little more texture.
okay,
So maybe it's a 2x12 and then it has a trim running up the front face of it, so you get a shadow line.
I got it, yep, I see it.
And I think that that could also just give it this feeling of just a little bit more, I don't know, like importance in a way, because the images that you showed of examples, I think that they were smaller. And so that size of framing would have been okay, but they still did have some kind of like either details at the end or something that added to it.
Okay, got it.
So I think that you're well on the way, and it's just minor things I would suggest
Okay.
that we fix.
Well, I can assure y'all, and I think those of you that know me, my houses have always been nice, well-built, and go in with the community. And we
Right.
just wanted this one not to have an ordinary shed roof, and that,
Right.
you know, we just wanted it to be a little
Yeah.
bit different, make it more special.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really like the direction that you're going with the design. I think it's a nice design. And so I
Barbara?
like that a lot.
I'd like to ask Barbara about the front door. I think it should be mentioned in our notes. Did you not like the other door, or this is the existing door, right?
Okay,
With the three panels, the three lights, it seems matches the windows
right.
better than. And the other thing is, are you sure you want glass all the way down on your front door?
She's wondering about the French door versus
Oh,
we're
this
using the
door.
existing.
Oh, okay. I thought the French door would just, add more light into the house
Right.
is
Well,
what, but if you, feel like I should use the
no, it's for your opinion, not for mine. I'm just thinking for myself. Sometimes I like to go to the door in my robe.
good point. Well said. Okay, thank you. You convinced me.
I think that that's a good point, Cecile, that
That's no problem.
as much as I do like glass, and I do like glass in a front door, I think that it sometimes feels like you're a little too exposed
Well,
for people looking in.
I was gonna put that, that glare, that stuff on the back of the window. So
Yeah, that would work too.
and I didn't want to scare anybody.
Yeah, I mean that would work too if you did that. I mean, I like how it looks on the front elevation. So I'd be happy with either way that you did it, honestly.
Well, if it's okay, then let's let it be a surprise.
I just want to let Phil know, if you have any questions, Phil, or comments, you can type them in the chat box if you wanted to comment or have questions. Just giving you a heads up. I know y'all might be wrapping it up, but there is a chat box. You can type your questions if you have any.
Do we want to handle this as approved conceptually and take a look at new elevations when they're available and do that electronically?
I would like that, David. Can we do that, Becca? Have it reviewed electronically so that they're not held up?
That would be very nice.
So yeah, we can do it where we can give it a conceptual approval with final details to be submitted to staff. And I'll, talk with y'all via email about any additional comments you have once we have those final drawings.
Okay.
I think that would be wonderful.
Thank
We
you.
can do that.
Thank you very much. Be sure when you're out walking, now stop, you know.
Door's always
We-
open at Barbara's.
Doors open.
Do we have concurrence that that's what we wish to do?
We need a
Sounds good to
motion.
me. Rachel,
Everybody,
you want to make the motion?
Phil's giving the thumbs up.
Okay.
Phil's got
Well,
thumbs
I'd
up.
like to make a motion that we conceptually approve this design, that we allow the homeowner to make a final decision about her front door as she sees fit, and that we're looking for design changes that include lowering the height of the columns and the porch beams so that the edge of the fascia and the edge of the roof align with the existing, and that the thickness of the side members at the rafters, the roof framing, be reviewed so that perhaps a thicker framing with additional trim be added. And I'm asking the board, do we feel strongly one way or the other about reducing the height or keeping this slope, or how we want to do that? Or should we start with these and go from there?
Rachel, this is Tim. I brought up the heights and I'm okay with your recommendations and go
Okay.
from there.
Okay.
I'd just like to see, this is David, I would like to see what the finished product with the lowered ridge and the changed
Yeah.
slope would look like. I have a gut feeling it might look too flat, but
I honestly think it could be too flat if we lowered it to match that existing height.
I
It's,
agree.
yeah. So why don't we say that, we'll
This one's here.
make these other changes, that's the motion, that we make these other changes and go from there.
all right, do I have a second?
And the two additional, excuse me, Rachel, and the two additional shutters that they.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Cecile. And the shutters are paired on each window.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Should be
Is everyone in
included in
concurrence or?
I'll start. This is Rachel. I vote yes.
Cecile, aye.
Phil
Tim,
votes
aye.
Yeah, Phil's and I.
And David's an
And
aye,
Tim.
and I'm really impressed that Rachel supported her own motion. That's civics in action,
Yes.
our new
All right,
citizens.
so Robin, once you get those revised plans, you can just email them to me, and we'll go from there, and I'll kind of instruct you on the next steps.
Okay.
Once I confer with the board, and get their go ahead, we can move on to issuing you the COA, and y'all can go ahead and submit for the building permit, and I'll make sure I link everything together so it's all reflected under one spot in our system.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you very
I know
much.
you've made Barbara Bird very happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Robin. Good luck.
Y'all take care.
This is new business. Where does everybody stand on their continuing education?
I
I've still got to get mine in.
I do too. I'm halfway there.
Has
I'm
anybody
done.
found anything useful?
Do you know this year, and I can't even remember what I attended, but whatever it was that I did this year, out of all the years that I've been a board member, it really was interesting and useful.
But where'd you get it?
It was through the town, and it was during COVID, and it was really interesting.
But it'd be nice if the town could come up with something for us, and particularly something that we could
Do you know,
uh,
I would agree
stream
with
after hours or something.
I would 100% agree with you. I mean, part of the reason why it was so great was it was during COVID. It was like accessible and easy to attend, and the subject matter. I mean, very rarely are the options available really applicable to what we do in our committee. So
I agree.
Yep,
Yeah.
completely agree.
The two people in our actual planning office who could probably present those type of materials would be Jesse or Tim.
yeah,
I'm not a certified planner just yet, so I wouldn't be able to provide that. Probably in the future, I definitely could.
yeah,
So David, you're saying like after hours, meaning like when you're not having to work during the day or like on the
Right.
weekend?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something you could access from home that,
Mm.
yeah,
you know, is streamed somewhere.
yeah. But
And
So
I would 100% support David in having something not be during business hours.
sure.
It really is difficult, especially when we're required to drive somewhere to attend a live meeting. It's
So, and I'm not copied on all the emails that Pam
Yeah.
sends out, but so I guess I'm not sure. I've done a lot of online stuff, but you know that's part of my job.
right.
And I'm in front of a computer most of the day, so I'm
Right.
able to take the
But
time to do that.
the stuff that I've seen is we have to take something that has some kind of certified person to check us off to make sure we took it.
Right.
And it's hard to tell when you look at what's available online, whether that stuff meets that criteria.
Right.
Well, anything that Pam sends to you guys should meet that criteria.
Well, I was unimpressed with the list. It was a list of a bunch of places that might have a program that I could use. But when I went to the sites, I couldn't determine that, like the National Trust has a bunch of interesting programs, but there wasn't anything that said that they would check the boxes that were needed by the state. And I think, you know, when you get right down to it, considering the situation that the state is in from COVID,
Mm.
it's kind of ridiculous to have these draconian requirements when in a good year we can't find very much that's worthwhile. I mean, Philip and I have gone to the state preservation meeting in April.
Right.
That's been a great meeting, but I haven't seen anything other than that meeting that really has anything to do with what we do.
Right.
Well,
you know, I've taken
and
courses on
it-
drainage ditches. To
it
meet
may be something that, and I don't know if Pam would have the time for this, but because she does like a ton of our administrative stuff. If it's something specifically for you guys, I mean, I'm not going to be able to do this for all the boards.
Right.
But I can try and see if, you know, because we can work with the accreditation, you know, folks to see if there are specific entities that they can say, yeah, anything from there would count towards your continuing education.
Right.
It might be, difficult to compile a list if I don't know exactly what y'all would find the most interesting.
I mean, I think, Becca, that it could be a variety of things. I mean, it's always good to have a refresher on, sort of what are all the legal requirements that have to be fulfilled in order for this committee to advertise and process the requirements. And it includes, the legal requirements about not conflict, like not having conflicts, like those kinds of just pieces are nice to have, like sort of just refresher courses on that. But it could also just be, like I know that many of us know a lot about Somerville, but even just having some CEs, like really looking at some of these homes in just a little more detail and why they're important to Somerville, and looking at the specifics of what our town has, or also just I don't know, like I think it could be really interesting and then really help us fully understand better what's in our historic district and what is the fabric of our historic district.
I think right now, South Carolina's got bigger problems than whether we got however many hours of CE.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially with our small planning staff, it's a time issue,
right?
And a content issue. Like, we don't want to provide something for y'all that's not going to be worth your time.
Right.
And creating that content. I mean, like I said, Jesse and Tim are the only ones who right now are qualified to provide that. And I can tell you that neither of them honestly have the time right now.
No, I can imagine that.
But it's something that I can talk to Jesse about and bounce some ideas off of her.
This year it may be just putting something together that ticks the boxes of getting us the hours that we need, and forget about whether it's got a whole lot of value or not.
A means to an end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I'm hearing y'all correctly just about current education. Like, so do y'all feel like you haven't been given a list of like online courses that you could take, that you had the time to take to get your...
Becca, they're very rarely online courses like that. They're almost always somewhere that's at a certain time and it's being offered, and there is not the flexibility of watching it on your own or following it on your own. And there's very little that's online. A lot of the things offered are in person. I mean, this year, not because of COVID.
That's what I was wondering. Like,
yeah.
I mean, currently, to get the requirements you guys need to stay on the board, have you not been getting online things that you can take that aren't during business hours, or because I want to make sure that you have the ability to get...
I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying that time's running out, and I haven't found anything easy to deal with, and I've got
I see Phil shaking his head.
I've got other continuing ed that I'm trying to do too.
Sure. Okay. I need to know what the exact issue is immediately to resolve it, I guess is what
I think the exact issue is making sure we get however many hours we need to stay on the board. And it'd be great if it were really topical, but if not, we just need the hours.
And Becca, I've just reviewed all the emails that I've got from Pamela. There haven't been very many this year. Like, there was some stuff in May, some stuff back in March.
But she sent some recently in September.
Oh, maybe she's just taken me off the list because I actually have all that I need right now.
Yeah, you're not needy like some of us.
No.
That's possible, Rachel. I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to her about
Okay.
it. But yeah, I mean, that sounds about right because she was out on maternity leave
Right.
for a long time. So,
Right.
we were trying to cover all of her duties, and
Sure,
that was not
yeah.
easy.
No,
But
I can relate to all that.
I was just unable to tell which ones I could take, which would monitor that I took them and give me credit for it.
yeah, with the online ones, typically they should send you an email, like a confirmation email that you've taken it. That's just been my experience when I've done some of the online courses. After I've logged in and everything, they and it ends, they send me an email that says, thank you for taking this and that.
Well, could you just in the next couple of days look into what can be done for those of us who haven't gotten our hours to get them,
Yep, I can definitely do that.
and we'll go from there. Do we have any other business?
Not on my end. We do not.
Okay, I've got a question for you. This is Tim.
Sure, go ahead.
The around March, I guess, when COVID happened, the little gas station there on the corner
Oh my God,
put
I
up
know
their
exactly
new
what you're gonna
sign.
say.
Yeah, no base.
Yeah, they never finished
So
it. Can the town not put some pressure for them to finish it?
I kid you not. I have been back and forth with sorry, I had to jump and break up a little dog fight here. Fighting over a treat. I have been back and forth with our code enforcement staff, and I guess a lot of them have been working from home and just going directly out into the field. So I have had code enforcement go over there, and at least they've told me they've gone over there. I don't know how many times. I've been given the runaround from the contractor who says the owner's responsible. Long story short, I finally got a response today from code enforcement that they've been fined. I think it's a couple $1,000, and their court date is on the 20. It's the week of the 20th of this month, 20 something.
Okay.
All right.
So yes.
Well, it sounds like
we're-
y'all are working on it, so thank you.
Yeah, it's an eyesore, and the fact that Jesse has to go stand by it to catch the bus to go home every day is not lost on us. So, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, they applied for it, and I don't know. But apparently the sign contractor, that was not part of their contract, and it was supposed to be on the owners. But they've been fined. They've been given citations and multiple warnings. So,
Gotcha.
we're taking them to court, and it'll hopefully get resolved sooner.
Well,
than later.
All right, well, good. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
At least we're trying to put teeth in our ordinances.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I wish we had our own code enforcement officer for planning and zoning, but unfortunately, we rely on about 2 or 3 people to enforce pretty much everything.
Okay. Do I have a motion to end the meeting?
So moved.
I move that we adjourn.
Okay. A
I second.
All right. In favor? Aye, aye,
Yes.
Aye.
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 All right, bye, y'all.
All righty,
All
y'all have a
right.
good night.
Yeah. Goodbye,
Thank you.
everybody. Bye.